All right, fuck it. I'm starting over. Silly me. I'll be back. Yeah, I'm gonna chop all that out. So there. Welcome. It's Wednesday, or no, it's Tuesday. What the hell is today? I don't even know. It's Tuesday. I am flustered, dude. So I'm gonna start with something funny, but hey, I'm gonna replay the intro because I screwed this up anyway. See, if you were here for the intro before, you get to hear it again. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog Studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dog Night. Stop the music! Zombie Teddy, you just don't even know how close you were to getting a timeout. Yes, it's Boomer Vision on the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P-Dog Night. Yes, the guy who doesn't know how to turn the mute off of his microphone. But I figured it out, and you all are still here, and it's amazing that people even spend time with me on these regular old days. So, let's just get the welcomes out of the way, because I want to say hello, good morning to, who was here? Oh, Zombie Teddy. You get the bell first, even though you almost got timed out. Good morning, Check Your Logic, Richo, Tyler F., Drayden's Pink Hollow, the Driving Ape Man, my favorite, well, one of my many favorite truck drivers who watch the show, and Richo, Della Hayes, Tyler F., Rolling Bear, RVA, Johnny Bonsacco. Welcome to the show. And today, I just, you know what? This is childish as F, or AF as the kids all like to say. Wait a minute, even before I get into that, thank you, Dave, for retweeting the show, aka Drayden's. If you guys want to make sure, do me a favor, while you're thinking about it, if you're on Twitter or if you're on social media, hit the arrow now. Tweet this out. Get the people to show up for the show. I decided that I'm going to start with something very childish because just the nature of this and the entire internet losing its mind over the fart heard around the world. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on live national TV, somebody let out a big old bonker of a fart. What the hell? I can't even. Canyonero. What the Canyonero? What's Canyonero? I don't know what that is. Anyway, here you go. Here's the fart heard around the world.
Evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
Okay, so hey, there's one of my other favorite truckers, Diesel Dave. Also, good morning, Smarty Bear. Hey, so now what's hilarious about this is live. It was on live television, and now there's a whole bunch of different things going on about this. And you know what? I know it's childish, but it's funny. It's funny. They think it was Swalwell, but you know, depending. Now he must have had a really sensitive mic to catch that because that was loud. And then some people are saying it might have been Chris Matthews, and then the people at MSNBC said someone was moving a coffee cup across the desk, making that sound. But watch Representative Swalwell closely as this happens. I'm gonna make this bigger so you can see his face as this happens. Let's do a full screen here. Okay, here we go. We're gonna do it one more time. Watch his face. Oops, let's start it from here. And all right, listen. Now watch his face. He literally stops his head moves, and then he keeps on going. And I don't even know how the hell he kept a straight face. Although you see this little smile on his face. Watch him. Watch it. Here we go.
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from the evidence...
The perfectly timed pause gives it away, and his head moving as he does it. I thought he probably was gonna have an SBD, right? But nope. It was out there for everyone to hear. Now, it's childish, but I think it's funny. And, I just got to give him a little, I got to fix something here. Someone told me this yesterday that you couldn't see my chat because it was moved over too far. So let's try that. There we go. Now the chat fits in the phone. There you go. So, also thank you, Dar, RVA, and Diesel Dave for tweeting out the show this morning. It always helps when you guys do that. My growth has been steady since you guys have been doing that for me, and I really, really appreciate it. One of these days I'll get a chance to be able to do my to be able to go broadcast live from locations on my phone, because I can't use my phone for it until I have 1,000 subscribers. So between that and be able to do regular super chats, I know regular super chats are more convenient for some people. We'll get there. We'll get there slowly but surely. But I want it to grow organically with I having you all being able to help me out by sharing the videos out. So I really appreciate that. Now, in my title though, I said, okay, my title says Eric Swalwell eats Chick-fil-A, Hilarity ensues. And because the two topics that I wanted to touch on first before we get into the regular news is the news about Chick-fil-A. And it's kind of weird that they did this, but Chick-fil-A says, hang on, let me put that up here. Chick-fil-A says it will end donations to groups critical of the LGBT community. Now, okay, so here's what's happening. The fast food chain, which continues to expand across the U.S. and abroad, announced that it will no longer donate to Salvation Army and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which have been the subject of criticism from LGBTQ activists. Instead, Chick-fil-A will provide funding to charities focused on education, homelessness, and hunger. Oh, no. Wait, what? Subscribers for mobile streaming, not 1,000. It's 10,000? Oh, I thought they moved to 1,000 because I used to be eligible for that. I used to use it quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit. I used to use it when Lady and Boomer and I were driving on the road. Is it 10,000? Holy shit. Well, I mean, it may take a while for me to get there. Anyway, Chick-fil-A. Let's get back to Chick-fil-A. It is... Now, here's the thing. As far as I'm concerned, because a lot of people were, LGBT people didn't want people to eat Chick-fil-A because they're homophobic and they're transphobic, blah, blah, blah. The Salvation Army, let's just start with them. Now, granted, they are a Christian organization that have certain views on gay marriage and things like that. But what is the Salvation Army? It's probably two of their greatest missions. One is disaster relief. They go out and they, without a lot of fanfare, they go out anytime there's a disaster. The Salvation Army trucks are there helping people, feeding people, and whatnot. Okay? And the second one that is really their huge mission is helping the homeless, the poor, people who are indigent. And if you are aware, it's not uncommon for gay people, trans people, whatnot, to be in that situation. There's always that's one of the things that a lot of the trans community talks about and the gay community talks about, the LGBTQ community talks about, is that, for example, a lot of kids are homeless, are gay. People have been abandoned by their families, and trans people have been abandoned by their families. And guess who helps those people? The Salvation Army. The Salvation Army doesn't care what your situation is when you need help, they help people. Now, there was this fake story going around that that they had turned away a trans person. That story was proven false, but it's still a persistent urban legend. Also, when there's a disaster and the Salvation Army sends their trucks out to help people, whether it be a hurricane or tornadoes or whatever, when the Salvation Army goes out to help people, they don't ask if you are gay or trans or whatever. They just go and help people. So their religious beliefs define their actions, and their actions are to help people, not regardless of what their personal sexual orientation or whatever, gender, whatever. So being pissed off that that Chick-fil-A was donating to the Salvation Army, I never understood that. Now, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, again, it's a Christian organization. Now, if that particular organization has certain things, does it affect you when you're eating a chicken sandwich? Now, if you don't want to eat there, don't eat there. But here's my whole final take on this. And I put this I tweeted this early this morning. I ate Chick-fil-A before. I'm going to keep eating Chick-fil-A after this. I'm going to keep eating Chick-fil-A if they change their mind and decide to donate to these people again. Because I don't go to Chick-fil-A for what they do with their money after I give it to them. I eat at Chick-fil-A because they make a tasty chicken sandwich. And the chicken sandwich don't care about your feelings. So I'm going to keep eating Chick-fil-A. A quick super chat from the Duck Dog, a.k.a. Duck Tater in the super chats, for $3.35. Thank you so much for the super chat in the Streamlabs link in the description down below. It's a have a cup on me. Hey, and what he's talking about is my daily cup of reparations coffee. And Duck Dog has been a great supporter of my coffee habit. I completely appreciate it. If you would like to have super chats, some things you want me to make sure that I see and make sure that I read, because I'm not the best about following the chat. I tried a little bit, but if you really want to get my attention, Streamlab links down below. I'll read whatever you put out there, unless it's, I may give some personal poetic license to it if I deem it in outside of my comfort zone. Let's put it that way. But not, I'm not too picky about what I read. Good morning, the gayest person on YouTube, Hot Dog. Welcome. All right, so now I also, let's see, I tried to put some new widgets on here, and we're gonna see if they work. Have I been on the show for 5 minutes yet? I've been there 13 minutes, and you know what? My stupid widgets on Streamlabs are not working. Okay, but is Duck Tater just tipped $3.35? So that one worked. Okay, anyway. All right, let's get into some news. As you well know, and I'm clearly, obviously, we're not watching it today, but the House Intelligence Committee. Now, it's weird, and it's still irritates me a little bit that this is going on in the House Intelligence Committee. But the impeachment inquiry is going on, and right now they have a couple, Alexander Vindman and somebody Williams. What's her name? Let's see. Oh gosh, that's funny. There's people tweeting as they're watching it. Consistent with statements from Ukrainian leaders, Vindman testified that he did not hear from any Ukrainians about pressure to enact investigations, nor did he discuss demands for investigations with officials at the Ukrainian embassy in D.C. Okay. Alexander Vindman. And what's the other woman's name that's testifying? I can't find her name here. Anyway, there's two people testifying in front of the House Intelligence Committee, and it's live on C-SPAN and whatnot. And I'm not watching it. I will probably watch a little bit of it later. But But man, these hearings are boring. Oh, wow. Vindman tells Democrat counsel he was never told by Ukrainians there was any pressure for investigations. Okay, there's a whole bunch. You know what? I'm not going to pay attention. It's trending #1 on Twitter, and we're going to get into Twitter trends later, so I'm going to go about that. But hey, the other thing that's happening that isn't really in the news yet, but it will be. I guarantee you, sometime between now and Thanksgiving. They thought it might happen this week, but who knows? It might be next week. It might be just a week of Thanksgiving. But the IG report into the Russian investigation is about to come out. And there's a little bit of scuttlebutt about what's going to happen with that. There's been some complaints that the Senate's kind of AWOL. And so that's the first article I'm going to hit today. And it's this article right here. This is going to need a full screen. Thank you. All right. Senate Republicans are AWOL in the oversight wall. In a recent speech to the Federalist Society, Attorney General William Barr lamented what he sees as a broad assault on the executive branch. As Barr sees it, the legislative and judicial branches have been progressively encroaching on the prerogatives of the executive. Now, I'm not a fan of that sentence. Okay. Not that I don't disagree completely with Barr. Sorry, I'm not disagreeing with that sentence. I'm disagreeing with the power of the presidency. I think the power of the presidency needs to be more limited anyway. I've always felt that way. I think we've given the president in the past way too much power with executive orders, making executive orders become laws just out of the blue, kind of like for example, when Obama was changing some of the parameters of Obamacare without legislative action, or for example, the DACA program. That is a out of whole cloth executive order that kind of has become law, and that's why they're fighting the courts. And interesting, when it was in front of the Supreme Court recently, one of the things the justices said was, well, this is an executive order, right? Why is this before the court? The executive order can be changed by executive order, but we'll see if that happens. We're going to wait for that Supreme Court decision. Because why do you need the legislative process to rescind or a judicial process to rescind something that's not a law? That's my question. Anyway, but here I think he's talking about how they're encroaching on the prerogatives of the executive, for example, in foreign policy, etc. And he is right. Federal district court judges apparently tired of merely judging. Oh, because the normal things that you can do executive orders for, a lot of the judges are striking down. And I think that's what his point is here. So apparently tired of merely judging, want a hand in executive branch policymaking. Thus, we see an endless stream of nationwide injunctions that thwart President Trump's initiative. But Congress is certainly the greater offender. It is doing little but encroach on the executive branch's power. This Congress won't legislate even on the issue of infrastructure where there would appear to be bipartisan agreement. Nancy Pelosi has been AWOL. As a result, the Senate's GOP actions have been limited to holding hearings and confirming judges and other presidential appointees. Instead of legislating, Pelosi's House Democrats are doing something far more sinister. They are using their oversight powers to harass the White House and to prevent it from functioning at all. In some ways, now I think the president has still been, he's been able to kind of do an end around on them a little bit, as far as, at least particularly with communication to the public. But I think he also, the fact that he's getting all these judges confirmed by the Senate is, because the Senate deals with that, he's doing some things just fine. But anyway, endless subpoenas have been issued and investigations launched under the pretext of oversight. Take, for example, the request to subpoena Donald Trump's tax returns under the pretense of evaluating how to reform tax law. Does anyone really think that House Democrats are about to unveil a tax reform bill? Hell no. Oh, they said, of course not hell no. I said, hell no. Of course not. They want to harass President Trump while he should be busy taking care of our laws to be faithfully executed. Yeah, the whole tax return thing. It's amazing that they're still on this hill, and I think the only reason they really want his tax return is they're hoping something embarrassing will be in there, like he doesn't make as much money as he says he does, or he's not really worth. Your tax return is not going to tell you anything about your net worth. But let's say, for example, he had enough write-offs to pay, very little taxes in one particular year. That's something that they would use as a campaign thing. And you know what? His tax returns, they're not a requirement for the job of the office. Yes, many presidential candidates in the past have provided their tax returns. But you know what? None of them have been, none of them are multi-billionaires or billionaires or whatever. I don't know if he's a multi-billionaire. I don't even know what his name. I don't know. He has a lot of stuff. But why? Why do you need his tax returns? I've never figured that out. Hang on a second. I just figured something out here. Let me just check something real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, it's all going smoothly. Good. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that the stream is going smoothly. Are y'all there? Where did everybody go? All right, back to this. Put a 1 in the chat if you're still here. if I'm still going. All right. Attorney General Barr was right to lament this. The president is confronted daily with the country's most pressing problems. Democrats' 3-year-long campaign to impeach him with conspiracy theories and non-crimes has done incredible damage to our government and to our standing in the world. But it's not enough to point out the problem and be done with it. The Democrats will not stop harassing the administration. As AG Barr points out, they have proudly adopted the moniker of the resistance, which indicates that they truly believe they are in a kind of civil war. Thus, Republicans have to find ways to make Democrats feel the pain of their actions using the powers available to them. Jason Smith, how you doing? See, now that helped. See, by just having to do that, I got to say hi to someone I haven't seen yet. The era of legislative battles is seemingly over. The oversight war has begun, and the Republicans must begin the fight. Now, oversight, just to be doing oversight, is, I think, counterproductive. However, I'm guessing that as soon as these IG reports come out, Inspector General report on the Russia investigations, the IG report on the origins of the FISA warrants, which we know if you don't even have to be an expert on government. All you have to do is go back and look at what they used, a particular document that they knew was false, at least in part, aka the Steele dossier, because there are things in that so-called dossier that they warranted to the courts was true, and yet they should have easily known were false. The one in particular that I just laugh my ass off every time I hear about it is the thing about the Russian embassy in Miami. Because they had something in that dossier that supposedly happened in the Russian embassy in Miami, or excuse me, the Russian consulate in Miami. Problem is, there is no Russian consulate in Miami. So just that one glaring mistake alone should have rendered some of that report they used to get the FISA warrants should have said, oh, well, we know of one error at least. But no, they didn't do that. And in fact, they also had Michael Cohen in Prague. They the dossier talking about Michael Cohen in Prague to go talk to some Russian people in Prague. And we're talking about Michael Cohen, the former lawyer who's now in prison, right? That particular Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer or attorney or whatever, one of his many attorneys, had never been to Prague. Never been there. He's never been to Prague. And so those two things alone. No, not Miami. I think he meant Miami, Florida. Anyway, those two things alone are glaring falsehoods. Now, there's certainly everything, and even when Comey testified before Congress, when he said it's a salacious and unsubstantiated document, well, then why was that salacious and unsubstantiated document used as part of the FISA warrant? So anyway, the IG report's not, I don't think, from at least from what I'm hearing from different reports and people that talk about it, and people have their supposed inside information, the IG reports coming out are going to have several, what's the word? Several referrals for indictments. Okay. And John Durham, the U.S. attorney from Connecticut, is right now investigating all of it. So I don't know if the Senate Republicans need to use oversight to do this. Granted, now after the IG report, because the House is not going to touch the IG report if it has anything that is detrimental to the Democratic narrative, right? But did I just do a Cenk Uygur? Right? The House committees are not going to touch. They're too worried about seeing how they can try to impeach Trump. Okay. And at this point it's almost 50-50. I thought it was for sure that the House was going to impeach. Now here's the thing. Impeachment is not, that's not the removal part. Obviously the trial actually goes to the Senate. Impeachment is basically the indictment. And then the Senate is the trial, okay? And that's just a different terminology for what you do to a president of the United States. There are finally some cracks, at least among the Democrats, as these hearings go on. There's a couple Democrats who are saying publicly that they're not interested. Okay, now, unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on what your perspective is, they're the two Democrats that already voted against doing the inquiry, so it's hard to say. But anyway, this says, moreover, I don't call Senate Republicans holding any serious hearings to get to the bottom of Hillary Clinton using a private email server for her government correspondence. Oh, God. Please stop using that phrase. I don't give a rat's behind if she used private email server for government correspondence. However, I do have concerns that Hillary Clinton, in using an unencrypted private email server to handle and store classified information. Note the distinction. Okay, when you say, because when everyone says get to the bottom of Hillary Clinton using a private email server, well, you know what? What's the standard response to that? But her emails. No. It's not about her using the private email server for her government correspondence. It's using a private, unencrypted email server to disseminate and store and receive sensitive classified information, including some that's labeled top secret, some that belong in SCIFs and JWICs and all those things, whatever those things that, the different things they use, are on her server, right? And some of that information was transferred. And I'm not talking about her emails. I don't care about her emails. I'm talking about the classified and top secret information that was transferred from her email server somehow ended up on the laptop of a convicted sex offender who was soliciting underage girls on the internet, or at least sending dick pics to them. Anthony Weiner, appropriately named Anthony Weiner. So, what some of the classified information entrusted to the Secretary of State of the United States of America ended up on the laptop of a convicted sex offender? A convicted sex offender who'd been sexting with young girls? Wow. Was that laptop a secured government device? I don't think so. Yeah. See? Stop phrasing it about her emails. It's not about her emails. And it's about the classified information. And James Comey confirmed it for us when he made his big announcement to the world and held a press conference saying, we did find the classified information that was on these servers, and we found more on Anthony Weiner's laptop, and it was, it's no matter, even though she denied it over and over again, there was no classified information. I thought those C's just meant for my eyes only. I didn't know what they meant. Oh, well, why didn't you know what they meant? I mean, you're Hillary Clinton. It's not like this Secretary of State thing was your first rodeo, right? Because you were also a senator, and you were also the wife of a president of the United States. And I don't know if you had security clearances back then, but I'm pretty sure they kind of gave you a little briefing on how to handle classified information. But for some reason, you needed to have your own private server where you were doing the business of the country at the same time you were doing the same business of the Clinton Foundation. This is not even because it's funny because some people be, P-Dog's conspiracy theorist. This is not even a conspiracy. This is public information. James Comey confirmed that she had this classified information in those two places, but he said, he had the balls to say in a public setting, well, yes, we did find it, but, nobody would ever prosecute this. Well, ask Edward Snowden or Chelsea Manning or, what's the dude, Jeffrey, what's his name? Anyway, ask anyone. You wouldn't prosecute her for the classified information, but you have Roger Stone possibly going to jail for the rest of his life for his bluster ass stupid fibs he told to the FBI. But someone mishandling classified information where anyone with a military ranking would be dressed down and go to the stockades. Kiss my ass. Anyway, all right. Anyway, this article is just saying the Senate's not really hasn't had anything scheduled. They're not doing hearings, whatnot. But on the right on the heels of that, we have this article from the Daily Caller. Senate sets a date for FISA abuse hearings. Oh yeah. FISA abuse. Carter Page. Remember him? The Senate Judiciary Committee will hold a hearing on December 11th to examine the findings from a Justice Department Inspector General's investigation into the FBI's alleged abuse of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court during the Trump investigation, the committee said Monday. So they're not messing around. The IG report hasn't even come out yet. But since it is expected to come out in the next week or so, they have set the Senate Judiciary hearing on it already. The report of the investigation is expected to be released soon after Thanksgiving. Oh, after Thanksgiving now. It was supposed to be before. Anyway, Attorney General William Barr said on November 13th that the release of the report is imminent. Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, has recently invited FBI and Justice Department witnesses interviewed as part of the investigation to review the report for accuracy. That is considered a final step before the report will be released. Republicans have been eagerly awaiting the release of the report, which will look at whether the FBI misled the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court in applications for warrants to spy on Carter Page, a former Trump campaign advisor. Investigators relied heavily on the unverified Steele dossier to argue that there was a probable cause to believe that Page was working as a Russian agent while he was on the Trump team. Remember Carter Page, the only guy that they seem to have investigated that remains completely and utterly unscathed? No charges, nothing. Just he's Carter Page, nothing. The FBI attained the first warrant on Page on October 21st, 2016. FISC judges approved 3 more renewals, which allowed the government to conduct surveillance on Page through September 2017. Dossier author Christopher Steele alleged that Page and other Trump associates, conspired with Russians to influence the 2016 presidential election. Fusion GPS, an opposition research firm, hired Steele on behalf of the DNC and the Clinton campaign. Yeah! Oh, we have some and it's funny because in the FISA applications, the verbiage was that the verbiage to the FISA court was these reports, this dossier, was funded by someone looking to have adverse reaction to the Trump campaign. That sentence didn't make any sense, but I think you get what I'm saying here. What they didn't say that it was indirectly through Perkins Coie law firm, it was paid for specifically by his political opponent, Hillary Clinton, and her campaign and the Democratic National Committee. It was paid for. Oh my gosh. The Clinton campaign and the DNC paid to get dirt on their political opponent from a foreign country. How is that? Isn't that what's that word they kept using during the first 3 years of the presidential campaign? Isn't that starts with a C? Kind of sounds like illusion. Isn't that collusion? That's collusion. Anyway. The special counsel's investigation undercut Steele's core allegations about the Trump campaign as well as Page. The special counsel's report said that there was no evidence of a Trump-Russia conspiracy or that any Trump associates worked as Russian agents. Horowitz told lawmakers last month that the report is lengthy and that most of it will be released in declassified form to the public. So the Senate has already got hearings ready to go. Good for them. I'm very interested in the Inspector General's report because I got a feeling it's going to be it's going to be very illuminating. Let's put it that way. Let's see. Can we get away from politics? Maybe. Oh man, I'm just looking at some of these headlines. So let's see. Pelosi blows off impeachment. Critics says it's weak and dangerous to let elections decide. Oh, Nancy Palsy. What are you saying here? Nancy Pelosi blows off impeachment critics, says it's weak and dangerous to let elections decide. Really? I know, because we plebes in the United States are just too stupid to elect the right person. We've already elected the wrong person for Nancy's taste, so we can't decide. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi doubled down on impeachment Monday, telling her Democratic colleagues in a memo that it was weak and dangerous to back off and let the American people decide 2020. The weak response to those hearings has been let the election decide. That dangerous position only adds to the urgency of our actions because POTUS is jeopardizing the integrity of the 2000 elections, Pelosi explained. Pelosi asserted that the facts of the case were uncontested. That's weird because it seems like there are some people asking questions that are contesting the facts. Saying that President Donald Trump has a business power for his own personal political benefit at the expense of our national security interests. Pelosi responded to Republicans who have argued that the president's decision to withhold the aid is a non-starter because the aid was eventually released. The aid was only released after the whistleblower exposed the truth of the president's extortion and bribery. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, whoa. Which is it, Nancy? Which is it? Which is it? Is it extortion? Or is it bribery? Make up your mind. They are two distinctly different things. And the House launched the formal investigation, she said. Okay. Republican Kentucky. Let me get this out of my... Here, I need to sip. Just a second. Republican Kentucky Senator Rand Paul took that particular argument a step further, arguing that the Trump administration had every right to withhold aid if they had any concerns about corruption within the Ukrainian government. Like, you mean like interfering in the 2016 election? Speaking of which, okay, so hang on a second. I need to do an aside here. So I'm watching the beginning of the hearing this morning, and I was listening to Adam Schiff's opening statement. And he was talking, it's funny how they're framing this whole thing, because they got to frame it to try to make it seem like, they're doing the right thing. And so Adam Schiff says, and I'm just going to paraphrase, he was talking about how that he was referring to the Republicans bringing up this conspiracy theory, that this false conspiracy theory that the Ukrainians met in our elections, when we know that it was actually only the Russians who tried to meddle in our elections. Now, I found that statement, immediately I'm like, bing! Here's what came out when I said that, when I heard that. So let's say the Russians were meddling in our elections. They tried to influence elections through through some goofy ass Facebook ads or whatever they did. Okay, which have not been proven. All we know is the FBI said they did this, or the FBI or whatever, CIA. Okay. So let's say that the Russians did do that. Does that mean that the Ukrainians couldn't have also attempted to influence our elections? Just because the Russians interfered, so to speak, does that mean the Ukrainians didn't attempt to interfere? Does that mean that China didn't attempt to interfere in our election? Does that mean that Israel didn't attempt to interfere in our election? Does it mean that just because the Russians interfered in our election, does that mean that nobody else could have? Because so they say the Russians were interfering on behalf of Donald Trump. Is that exclusive to the Russians? Is that exclusive that only they could have? Sorry, Ukrainians, one at a time, please. We only allow one country to interfere in elections at a time. Or like the articles that were coming out in 2017 and like the investigations in Ukraine say that there were Ukrainians who were trying to interfere in our elections on behalf of Hillary Clinton. Can the world walk and chew gum at the same time? Can there be more than one thing happening at a time? Can there be more than one country interfering in our elections or attempting to influence our elections? That was a dumb statement, Chairman Schiff. Just letting you know. I'm just letting you know because it was dumb. It was dumb. Anyway, what else did Pelosi have to say? I think that's the end of that article. Let's move on. What else we got? Let's see here. Democrats' new star witness, David Holmes, was drinking wine and didn't take notes. I didn't. I didn't even know this one. This is from Breitbart. So it's very slanted. It's a slanted article. I admit it. That this article is slanted, but I'm going to check it out anyway. Democrats' new star witness, David Holmes, was drinking wine and didn't take notes. David Holmes, the political officer at the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine, who has emerged as the Democrats' new star witness in the impeachment inquiry, admitted that he had been drinking wine at the time, and he claimed to overhear the president on the phone. Holmes claimed to have overheard a conversation between U.S. Ambassador Gordon Sondland and President Trump on a mobile phone on July 26, the day after Trump spoke to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Holmes told the House Intelligence Committee in a closed-door hearing last Friday that Trump asked Sondland whether Zelensky would do the investigation, and Sondland said that Zelensky loves your ass. What? Oh, loves your ass. Well, yeah, I don't think he meant you got a great ass. Yeah, I don't think that's what he meant. Anyway, the text of Holmes' prepared remarks was leaked, and the media reported that he had firsthand evidence that Trump cared about investigations, though that was already known after Trump released a transcript of the July 25th call. So I guess it wasn't new information. What the media did not report were other details that became clear Monday when the transcript of Holmes' testimony was released on the eve of the second week of public hearings in the impeachment inquiry. Oops, excuse me. I got that wrong. The impeachment inquiry. One detail was that Holmes and Sondland were drinking at the time of the conversation in question. The four of us went to a nearby restaurant and sat down on an outdoor terrace. I sat directly across from Ambassador Sondland, and the two staffers sat off to our sides. At first, the lunch was largely social. Ambassador Sondland selected a bottle of wine that he shared among the four of us, and we discussed topics such as marketing strategies for his hotel business. The call followed shortly thereafter. Holmes admitted that he had not heard both sides of the call for its entire duration. Holmes would later testify that the informal nature of the banter around the restaurant table, explaining sheepishly to committee chairman Representative Adam Schiff why he had used vulgar language in talking with Sondland. I'm not proud of my language, but the informal tone of the lunch and the language I had heard him using in his call with the president, we were just sort of, two guys over lunch talking about stuff and the president's ass. Sorry, that wasn't in there. And it seemed to me that was the kind of language that he used. Throughout the testimony, Holmes referred to his notes and was able to produce exact quotations of things he had heard other people say. But for some reason, he never took notes on what he heard President Trump say or what Sondland had said about Zelensky. He claimed that we take notes on foreigners, but also testified that he had written immediately to a colleague in the U.S. Embassy in Sweden to tell her what Sondland and President Trump had discussed about the president's efforts to free jailed rapper ASAP Rocky. All right. So anyway, I think the point of this is that the Holmes didn't take notes, so he was doing it completely from recollection. Although then he just decided to testify to that. All right. We're going to I'm going to go a little bit ahead of schedule today because I'm just trying. I have to get some clothes out of the dryer so I have something to wear to my afternoon activities. But anyway, this is a good time to chill too. Hey, remember the Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. If you can be so kind, down there or up there somewhere, there's that arrow that says share. Please share the stream out to your on your social media, and if you can, make sure you hit the like button before you leave today. And also, if you want to do live super chats where I read about what you write or get my attention, you can do that in the Streamlabs link, which is in the description down below. For some reason, my Streamlabs little notification thingies are not working. They'd normally be in the chat. I'll have to figure out how that actually works and make sure that I get those that information out to you later. So, let's get into Twitter trends because there's a lot to talk about in there. So I'm gonna have to get to my little explore button here. And now, before we get into Twitter trends, I've started a new thing where I read the the news that pops up when you click the notifications button. And today the notification is about Rob Gronkowski. Apparently, Gronkowski is bringing Gronk Beach back to the Super Bowl. Yippee. Former Pats tight end is hosting his first Super Bowl party in Miami, a music festival called Gronk Beach. The event features Diplo, Cascade, Rick Ross, Flo Rida, and 3LAU. Okay, so he says, let's see, I'm bringing the fiesta to Miami with Gronk Beach Big Game Weekend presented by Monster Energy. Prepare for my personal over-the-top oceanfront music festival featuring my friends Diplo, Cascade, Rick Ross, official Flo Rida, DJ Carnegie, and 3LAU. The only one I know two of those. I know who three. Rick Ross, I know who Flo Rida is. I know who, oh no I don't. I don't know who that is. What? No, what's the, yeah, don't stop the party. Who's that dude? Anyway, I'm frightened. I'm frightened for any party that Gronkowski would throw out there. Let's see. Here it is. Here's a commercial. I'll probably get scared.
Yo, Gronk, what's up, my man? I've been working on the most genius game plan ever. My ship. Forget about that ship.
Aren't you scared? You gotta be scared.
I'm talking about the ship. Did I hear ship? Did someone say championship? This again. No. We are not talking about SBLIV. We are talking about getting LIT. That's right, buddy. Drink up. Sippy sip sip. Bro, you have so much left in the tank. We need you back on the field this season, fighting for another ring. We're going to be world champions.
Yeah, it may not be the Pats.
But this time of partying, it's going to be the biggest rager Miami has ever seen.
Oh my gosh, this is a 2-minute and 70-second commercial. I'm not watching any more of this. Anyway, Gronk's having the big party at before the Super Bowl this year because now he can because he's no longer a Patriot. So there you go. He's gonna have a big old party at the Super Bowl. All right, let's see what's actually trending on Twitter today. And of course, number one trending is Vindman, because that's the day that everyone knows. And there was another person testifying today. Vindman and Schiff are okay. So just some of the top tweets right now. Vindman and Schiff are essentially acknowledging that Vindman was the whistleblower source. They're also both saying that neither of them know who the whistleblower is, so they're both lying. Okay, interesting. Lee Zeldin, who is he a congressman in New York 1st Congressional District, says, if Adam Schiff and LTC Vindman don't know who the whistleblower is, how would they know that naming one person LTC Vindman spoke to in the intelligence community would out the whistleblower? How could they not, both of them, not know who the whistleblower is? Hang on a second. Here's newness. Here's part of this testimony this morning.
Colonel Vindman, did you discuss the July 25th phone call with anyone outside the White House on July 25th or the 26th? And if so, with whom?
Yes, I did. My core function is to coordinate U.S. government policy, interagency policy, and I spoke to two individuals with regards to providing some sort of readout of the call.
Two individuals that were not in the White House.
Not in the White House, cleared U.S. government officials with appropriate need to know.
And what agencies were these officials with?
Department of State, Deputy Assistant Secretary George Kent, who is responsible for the portfolio Eastern Europe, including Ukraine, and an individual from the office of an individual in the intelligence community.
Oh, so CIA agent, a plant to go. Anyway, let's see what else he said here.
As you know, the intelligence community has 17 different agencies. What agency was this individual from?
If I could interject here, we don't want to use these proceedings.
It's our time,
I know,
Mr. Chair.
but we need to protect the whistleblower.
Please stop.
I want to make sure that there's no
funny.
effort to out the whistleblower through the use of these proceedings. If the witness has a good faith belief that this may reveal the identity of the whistleblower, That is not the purpose that we are here for, and I want to advise the witness accordingly.
Interesting how Schiff, this protecting the whistleblower thing. It's kind of funny. The protection of whistleblower laws mainly protects them against retaliation. It's funny how there have been so many whistleblowers. Let's give you a really good example. Now, I'm no fan nor foe of Edward Snowden, but Edward Snowden was a whistleblower. And Edward Snowden didn't get a favorable, no one gave a shit about protecting him, right? And wasn't, what's the Chelsea Manning, Bradley Manning, whatever, Bradley Manning was a whistleblower. And no one would, no one gave a shit about protecting them. But this is funny. This is funny. And so the whistleblower that we supposedly don't know the name of, is an associate, a specific associate of John Brennan, who's probably going to get indicted. It's fascinating.
Mr. Vindman, you testified in your deposition that you did not know the whistleblower.
Ranking member, it's Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Lieutenant.
Oh, kiss my ass! You know what? Yeah. Okay. Oh my. Did he? Oh. That's pretty. Yes, he should have probably said Lieutenant Vindman, but to correct the congressman is just showing. See, remember when you're in the military, you are to give the utmost respect to civilians, and so a military person is certainly expected to refer to you by your military rank or office. But a civilian isn't. A civilian doesn't have to do that. And so him correcting a congressman who is a civilian, so to speak, that's not really military etiquette. Just let's put it that way. Here's, I'm showing again.
Mr. Vindman, you testified in your deposition that you did not know the whistleblower.
Ranking member, it's Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, you testified in the deposition that you did not know.
Yeah, no civilian is required to refer to a military officer by their rank. It's fascinating that he did that.
Who the whistleblower was, or is.
I do not know who the whistleblower is. That is
so how is it possible for you to name these people and then out the whistleblower?
Per.
So anyway, that's interesting. I mean, it's a gotcha question. They got him on that, but it's fascinating. Colonel Vindman, what language do you speak? I speak Russian, Ukrainian, and a little bit of English. That's cute. That's kind of funny, actually. So Vindman has a sense of humor. There it is.
Colonel Vindman, what languages do you speak?
I speak Russian and Ukrainian, and a little bit of English.
Yeah, that's funny. That, you know what, that endears me to him. Instead of being just a pencil pushing eunuch, he actually has a sense of humor. So I appreciate that. So Vindman's trending #1 on Twitter. You're going to hear all about that for the rest of the day. People will be making videos about it tonight, and you'll probably see those tomorrow. We already knew that. And this other person testifying? I don't know her name. It's something Williams. Nunes Fittim, are you aware that Chewbacca is the result of Sasquatch having sex with an alien? That is a anti-Trump person because they don't like the questions he's asking. Let's see. And his opening state was pretty dry. Anyway, all right. So Vindman has a sense of humor. That's good. And let's see here. #2 trending. Oh, Devin Nunes is an idiot. Oh, aren't you cute? Econ Chick and Laura Walker, of course, are tweeting about that. Laura Walker is my favorite former conservative. For an idiot, Nunes is sure taking Vindman apart piece by piece. Vindman can't stop squirming in his seat. No witness to date has been made to look so scared under Republican questioning. Now this here says, watching Devin's opening statement with my 70-year-old Republican father, my dad looks at me and says, Trump is in trouble if this brain-dead fool is his defender. Devin Nunes is an idiot. Me being like, wow, go dad. Well, Okay, let's see what this is. Someone else. Laura laughing my ass off. Devin Nunes must have missed this morning's statement by Zelensky, essentially acknowledging that the whole Burisma thing is complete bullshit and everyone in Ukraine knows about it. Well, I haven't seen that yet. I guess it'll be trending on Twitter if that's the case. Raise your boy to be a Venman, not a Nunes. These obviously Devin Nunes, an idiot hashtag, is certainly something that everyone's happy, that people who don't like Nunes is going to be happy about. Let's see. Watch Devin Nunes get burned. Let's see what this is.
Advise the witness accordingly. Mr. Vindman, you testified in your deposition that you did not know the whistleblower.
Rank member, Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Oh, see now, that's not Devin Nunes getting burned. That's a military officer actually breaking military etiquette. Civilian are not required to call you by your rank. And so that's not Devin Nunes getting burned at all. That's Vindman going outside of what protocol would be. Anyway, so Devin Nunes is an idiot, trending the people who hate Nunes. Number 3, Vindman testimony. We've done that. Number 4, which was number 1 early this morning, International Men's Day. So I'm sure there's going to be some people shitting on this, but really, the purpose of International Men's Day is to now I'm sure there's people, wait, why do you need an International Men's Day? Because men rule the world. It's actually it's there to talk about men's health issues that are specifically male physiological male issues. But so Zuby, who's a musician, shout out to all the fantastic fathers, grandfathers, sons, husbands, uncles, nephews, boyfriends, leaders, builders, creators, warriors, and protectors out there. You are appreciated. Remember, boys, you don't have to be over 6 feet to be attractive or have a 6-figure salary to be successful. It's okay to talk about your problems, to cry, to ask for help. Being strong is being yourself. Have a wonderful day. International Men's Day. And in this case, it's International Men's Day. So let's talk about how 1 in 4 homeless people are women. Isn't that's one of those things I just chuckle, because sometimes feminists will bring up these statistics that should show you that, when 1 in 4 homeless people are women, that means 3 in 4 are men. Okay, so let's see. Take it from previous personal experience. Having a bubble bath and listening to Enya after a day feeling inexplicably sad is the dog's bollocks. Try it. Why would you want to be the dog's balls? I don't know that one. Hey, now this is a good. Hey, for International Men's Day, it's important to remember that trans men are valid and that all men should band together to fight the patriarchy that has shaped society to expect men to be buff, constantly stoic, and show no emotions. Yeah, I don't think that was what's International Men's Day is about, but okay. There are still some issues specific to physiological males that probably don't apply to trans men, but I don't care if, whatever. Let's see. Anything. I was looking for someone actually who was trying to shit on International Men's Day just to be curious, which that kind of, in a way, that was meant to shit on it. That wasn't really meant to. Anyway, whatever. I'm glad that there's an International Men's Day. Amanda, I'm going to read her bio. Very gay mom advocate, speaker, and author of #1 best-selling memoir. I'm glad there's an International Men's Day because there are things that don't get discussed enough. We need to let men feel a range of emotions, support their struggles with mental illness, leave room for masculinity to come in many forms, recognize intersectionality. Thank you for sharing your agenda on International Men's Day, although I don't disagree with it necessarily. but I'm pretty sure. Oh, and she continues. There is privilege in being a man, yes, but there are struggles too, for some more than others. Trans men, gay men, racialized men, disabled men, impoverished men, etc. can face a pile of obstacles that shouldn't be ignored. You know, I'm pretty sure that's the point of International Men's Day. Maybe. I don't know what it is, but now here's a reply to that. Whilst your previous tweet was incredibly unhelpful, I'm glad regardless of your agenda or views decided to tweet this and show support in some way that doesn't make it harder to express emotion. So I'll at least thank you for that. And she says, you're right. It was 100% unhelpful. Truly meant as a joke with a follow-up, and it didn't land well at all, which I recognize. And your tweet helped me realize that I have 2 sons and they deal with their own issues that deserve addressing. So thank you. So yeah, she's self-aware. Okay. I also want to say sincerely that I'm sorry you're struggling. Reading what you had to say was a reminder that flippant jokes are not a good idea when we're talking about real humans. Your vulnerability is valuable, but I'm still sorry it's hard right now. Okay, so I respect this woman completely. I respect this woman completely for at least acknowledging that her flippant attitude towards it really wasn't appreciated, and she seems genuinely caring about what the focus behind International Men's Day is about. So good for her. So if there's a thread you can check out that hashtag if you want. I'm going to keep going on here. Moving on, trending number 5 is Tuesday Thoughts, the first Tuesday thing of the day for Twitter trends. What's a good Tuesday thought? Hello, Mr. Dax. Hello, Renovaccio. Welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Bag of pipas with hand gestures. What? What? Cornamoose? Okay, I don't know what that means. Okay, under Tuesday Thoughts, why is impeachment hearing the third day of public questioning at the top of that? That is not anything to do with Tuesday Thoughts. Here are some Tuesday Thoughts, though. Roseanne DeMoro says, the news the MSN hates to report. Bernie Sanders hits 4 million donation mark. Campaign announces because it's not me, us. Wow, they hit 4 million in campaign donations. That's amazing. In what? Wait a minute. In one day? Because I know Trump had 15 million in one day at one point. Bernie Sanders is part of the top tier of candidates on the national and early voting state polls who are vying for the Democratic presidential nomination. But when it comes to donations to his campaign, the longtime progressive lawmaker and populist champion for Vermont is in a league of his own, far ahead of his 2020 rivals. Sanders' campaign announced on Tuesday morning that it has now received more than $4 million in individual contributions. That's what it is, from people across the country, making the senator the fastest candidate in history to reach the fundraising mark. Working class Americans. I can't do Bernie Sanders. How do you do Bernie Sanders' voice? I can't remember. Working class Americans across the country are chipping in $3, $18, $27, or whatever they can. Now, those are 3 weird numbers. $3, $18, $27, or whatever they can to help elect Bernie Sanders because they know he is the only candidate who will fight for them and take on corporate greed and corruption. Campaign manager Faiz Shakir touted, "This is what momentum looks like." Okay. Sanders is making a second straight White House run. His campaign highlighted that the candidate didn't reach the 4 million individual milestone in the 2016 cycle until after February's New Hampshire primary, which is still more than 3 months away. Sanders, though, didn't announce his 2016 bid until late April 2015. This time around, Sanders launched his presidential campaign in February of 2019, 2 months ahead of his 2016 schedule. So great. Let's see. Sanders, like his progressive rival Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, is relying on small-dollar grassroots donations to fuel his campaign. He hauled in $25.3 million in the July to September third quarter of fundraising, more than any other Democratic White House hopeful. The hall was powered by some $1.4 million contributions. I don't know that, whatever. Okay, so yeah, he's raising more money than most of the Democrats. Yes, all is well. Thank you, Renavascio. Let's have an actual Tuesday thought. Wait a minute. Dating a lazy girl who's good in bed is unexplainable to the family. They shout out, but you always reply, people don't know this girl. Well, that's a thought. Adam Grant, what does Adam Grant do? Organizational psychologist. What the hell is that? Okay, here's a good Tuesday thought, though. It's rare that people need to be told how to change the status quo. More often, they need a new vocabulary to describe what's wrong with the status quo. A sign that you've helped is when people start using your language to explain their experiences. Grievance grifter. Start using my language. But be sure, a grievance grifter, someone who raises money off the oppression that they see against others. Sean King. Or Al Sharpton. Or Anita Sarkeesian. She's a grievance grifter. Anyway. All right, so that's the Tuesday thought. Let's go on. Moving on. What else do we got? It's moving around like crazy. So Vidman went Nunes, Vidman, International Men's Day, Tuesday thoughts. Red for Ed. What the hell does Red for Ed mean? What is Red for Ed? Indiana State Teachers Association. Oh, okay. They're having a convention, so their hashtag must be Red for Ed. Okay, forget that. I don't care. Party Next Door is trending. Let's see. A single word from Party Next Door has fans anticipating new music. Is Party Next Door a musical group? Yes, they are a musical group, and I don't know anything about them. So, hey, this is in the category of K-pop, and I don't care, even though it's not K-pop. Jennifer Williams. Oh, that's the other person testifying today. Pence aide Jennifer Williams on Trump's full July call with Ukrainian president. It was the first time I had heard internally that the president referenced particular investigations that previously I had only heard about through Mr. Giuliani's press interviews. Devin Nunes to Jennifer Williams and Colonel Vidman. I'm not accusing one of you of leaking information. Here's who's testifying. Jennifer Williams, aide to Mike Pence, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vidman, National Security Council official, Kurt Volker, former U.S. envoy to Ukraine, and Timothy Morrison, the NSC Russia expert. Those are the people who are testifying today. And all four will be trending at some point on Twitter today. I'm sure you'll hear all about it. Artist Jermaine O'Neal. I'm thinking this is this Jermaine O'Neal. Is this the Jermaine O'Neal that's the singer? Oh no, Jermaine O'Neal, this is the Jermaine O'Neal, the basketball player. I automatically knew the fans at the Palace was drunk because ain't no regular fan in their right mind gonna look on the court and see niggas like Stack, Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, Ben Wallace, etc., and think I'm about to throw a drink and start a fight with these brothers. Okay, apparently Jermaine O'Neal. Oh my God. I know it's not a laughing matter, but when Jermaine O'Neal slides in at the end with a right cross, I lose it every time. Apparently, there's a big old fight. Here's the big old fight. Apparently, these guys lost their mind. I didn't even know Ben Wallace was still playing. Oh, okay, that's Artest and a fan. This is old. Okay, and this guy came and what the hell? This can't be current. This must be old news. I'm trying to find. Let's see. Stephen Jackson and Jermaine O'Neal should have won Best Teammates that year. Okay. This is from 15. I was going to say this is 15 years ago. 15 years ago today, all hell broke loose when someone threw a cup at Ron Artest. The malice at the Palace lives on in infamy. So this is the fight when when Ron Artest went up and got in the fight with a fan, and he got a little trouble for that. Just saying. All right, so that's why Jermaine O'Neal is trending. Mrs. Williams is the same Ms. Williams that is testifying today. Ben Wallace was involved with that fight. I'm going to move on. We already talked about Gronk Beach coming up at the Super Bowl, his party. When Tom Brady wakes up and hear Gronk has announced his own music festival, instead of being my best tight end ever, okay, that's Gronk. Williams and Vindman. Rosa Parks is trending. Is it Rosa Parks' birthday? That could be. Okay, people. Okay, why is Rosa Parks trending? Let's not forget these greats of the 1960s who restored Black Pride: MLK Jr., Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, Angela Davis, Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, Barbara Jordan, Shirley Chisholm, Rosa Parks, John Lewis, James Meredith, and Muhammad Ali. All heroes in the black community. Actually, they're American heroes, a lot of them, and most of them. And I even include Malcolm X in that. He's an American hero in the fact that, in the end, he had some... he has important things to say that if you listen to some of the stuff he says now, you'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense, especially when it's talking about not necessarily being not being overly tied to any political party, and also of just empowerment, of empowering yourself and building your own in the black community. I know I know a lot of you don't hear these things often. But here's something I want to try, and I'm going to see if I can get some guests. This is a programming note. Speaking of from Americans of African descent, or ADOS, or black people, or whatever, on the day after Thanksgiving, also known as Black Friday, I am actually going to invite some guests of the African descent to be on the show, and we're going to have a real Black Friday, have a little roundtable discussion on just some of the things that come up. I probably want to maybe talk about Colin Kaepernick a little bit, and talk about just different things, police issues, and also issues with the main reason I want the people I'm bringing on. They are people who are conservative black individuals. Some are Trump supporters, some are not. Some are part of the what's called the conscious black conservative movement, but they're all conservatives, and we're going to talk a little bit about. Okay, I'm warning you. We're going to talk a little bit about Candace Owens and the Brexit movement, and just some things that are coming up. There's a whole bunch of stuff, man. There's going to be debate. Triologic is doing a debate with a couple of Brexit people. We're just going to talk about the state of conservative black America now. And I'm not the best spokesman for any of this stuff. And we'll talk about that a little bit when we have that show. But I'm hopefully I can get some of those people to come on, because I've had some interesting conversations with them on Twitter. So just remember, on Black Friday, P-Dog Night's going to have Black Friday. So just letting you know. All right, moving on. What else we got? But why is it her birthday? Rosa Parks Museum elevates the legacy of Rosa Parks by providing a platform for scholarly dialogue, civic engagement, and positive social change. So this dude, Chan Cozy, has a picture of Rosa Parks holding him. That's really Rosa Parks holding him. The civil rights era really wasn't that long ago. See why Rosa Parks is trending, finds out why. No. Oh no, that's not Colin. The people who hate Colin Kaepernick would have hated Rosa Parks for the exact same reason. False. Colin Kaepernick, in my personal opinion, what's my favorite saying? Colin Kaepernick is a grievance grifter. Colin Kaepernick has been playing the media this whole time, in my opinion. And I know some of the people I bring on Black Friday are going to disagree with me. But please remember that Colin Kaepernick, I talked about him on Saturday, by the way, when I had my impromptu stream. Colin Kaepernick, his whole dealing for the flag, I don't give a shit. He has First Amendment rights, whatever, unless the NFL says he doesn't. That's, do that outside your job. But regardless, his dispute did not start with talking about police brutality. Okay, he was having a contract dispute. Okay, he was mad that he wasn't starting for the San Francisco 49ers, and so he was pouting. This started out as him just pouting. Okay, and then the 49ers were not going to release him before the end of his contract. So he was pouting. And then, he decided, oh no, see, I'm really kneeling because I am oppressed. And I think that we should be bringing attention to police brutality. And so then all of a sudden it became a police brutality thing. So everyone jumped all on that bandwagon. But that's not how it started. It started because he was having a contract dispute, and he got benched because he wasn't living up to his reputation as an NFL starter, because he did have one good year. But after that year, every defense in the league figured out that he couldn't make a second read. And so once you shut down his primary receiver, all you had to do is put a spy on him, and that spy would take him down, and he wasn't performing the same way he did that year that he had the great year that they went to the Super Bowl. So he got benched, contract dispute, started sitting during the national anthem. Then, why you sit? People criticize him for sitting for the national anthem. Oh, well, I'm protesting police brutality, and he's been grifting off that ever since, and got Nike to pay him a ton of money, and now he's supposedly a civil rights martyr. Oh, poor Colin Kaepernick. Come out and the NFL comes and has a special tryout for you. Never happened before in the history of the NFL where they had a special tryout for one player. But no, he had to make some drama out of it, right? Drawing attention to himself and a statement and you know what? I don't care how strong your arm is. Because he threw some 50-yard balls in that little tryout. But I know there's high school kids who can throw a 50-yard ball. Can you make a second and third and fourth read in the NFL where the best American football players in the world are playing with a 280-pound defensive end breathing down your neck? Can you make that second and third read, or are you just going to run right into the guy who's waiting for you because he knows you can't make a second read, and you get tackled because he knows what you're going to do? Okay? That 3 years that you said you've been staying in shape, you're ready? Well, you know what? You haven't made a read in 3 years. So now we don't even know if you can make the first read. Now, could Colin Kaepernick be a great football player? Maybe. Or maybe he'd be a really expensive backup for an NFL team and a complete and utter distraction. So I can understand, especially after his little stunt this weekend, I can understand why some teams are like, we don't need that. We're not auditioning for him. He's auditioning for us, and he's making a mockery out of the whole process. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm just saying. All right, moving on. That was my tangent rant of the day. Moving on, but I still don't know why Rosa Parks is trending. Unless it's because this dude, whoever Big Chan is, Little Chan versus Big Chan. I don't know who Big Chan is, but apparently he got a picture with Rosa Parks when he was young. This is probably had to be in the late 90s because I think Rosa Parks passed away a while ago. Let's see. I saw that Rosa Parks was trending. I got scared for a second that either A, Hillary Clinton had released that graphic with her riding the campaign logo, or that B, Cynthia Erivo has been cast to play her in a biopic. I don't know what that means. But, let's find out who Chan Cozy is. He's an artist. He's a musician, I guess. So he has a picture of him in Rosa Parks, and that's why it's trending. Apparently, people know who Chan Cozy is. You just gonna post a pic with Rosa Parks with no explanation? That's what I'm wondering. Okay, all right. So that's why Rosa Parks is trending, because no one knows why he posted a picture, but he put it up there and he got a picture of himself with Rosa Parks when he was a baby. All right. Steve Castor, who is that? Is that someone testifying today? This is the Steve Castor veteran of the Fast and Furious and Benghazi will remember. This is a gross and not very subtle smear of Vindman as someone with dual loyalties. Impeachment hearing, questioning of two witnesses to continue following. Okay, Steve Castor, whoever that is accusing. Wait a minute, veterans of Fast and Furious and Benghazi, like the hearings? You mean the Fast and Furious? So the people who want Trump impeached are really mad at Steve Castor. So maybe Steve Castor, okay, GOP lawyer Steve Castor asking a number of questions on the topic and Ukrainians' interest in Vindman. Lieutenant Colonel Vindman says he turned down an offer to be the Minister of Defense for Ukraine at least 3 times and notified his chain of command about the offers. Okay, lots of people not happy. Okay. Republican Committee Counsel Steve Castor is now underway doing exactly what he did in last week's hearing with Kent Yovanovitch et al., asking a dizzying array of irrelevant small ball questions likely designed to bore the TV audience into turning away. Don't worry, there'll be other people asking questions. Okay, so that's why he's trending. He's part of the hearing. We'll get to that later. That's Lieutenant is trending. And these morons. No, it's not. That's Lieutenant. That's Lieutenant Colonel. Whatever. No, sorry. Not, you don't say that to a civilian. Just saying. Any military people out there, would you ever correct a civilian about how they addressed you? Hell no. Only other military personnel. Sorry. Williams and Vindman, and Tuesday motivations trending last because I don't want to talk about Williams and Vindman anymore. So let's see if there's any good Tuesday motivation to finish out the show with today. And let's see. Tuesday motivation. A word of encouragement during a failure is worth more than an hour of praise after success. That is fantastic. That's a fantastic motivation. Let me repeat that. A word of encouragement during a failure is worth more than an hour of praise after success. You know what? I don't even want to try to top that. That is such great advice. Encourage people who are having a tough time. You can always praise people who did something great, but if you can encourage and give some praise or whatever, some helpful words to a person who's maybe not done so great, that is very, very, very worthwhile. Okay, finishing out the show. Thanks, G Prime. I see G Prime also tweeted out the show. So all of you have been tweeting out the show. All of you have been doing donations, who've been doing hitting the like button. Everything you guys do that we talk about all the time, that helps the show. That helps me. I appreciate you guys so much. And hopefully I can continue to be at least somewhat entertaining. I do my best, but sometimes, I'm not always on my game, but hey, it's just is what it is. But I do have to thank you. The Morning Night Live is here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 3 p.m. GMT. And if you haven't done so already, before you go, hit the like button, hit the share arrow, do all that stuff. If you want to make donations to the channel and help keep it going, you can do that through the Streamlabs link in the description down below. And please be around tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We'll be back here tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing you all, but I gotta go because that's just how it goes. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Have a fantastic day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.
Like on the road, you haven't, so you could while I'm driving, you do like